everyone. I'm Julianne Meyer. You are watching Own Your Wellness, and I'm excited to be here. I got to tell you, I had an amazing conversation with Lauren Michaels Harris, who's also a host on E360 TV platform, as well as iHeartRadio, and he's in TVs and movies and all this fun stuff. But anyway, the reason why I'm sharing this is because he has ignited this fire inside of me that wants to make the show even better now. So I'm letting you know that things are going to be changing and up-leveling very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled because some amazing things are coming your way. But until then, I've got a fabulous guest today. I am so excited to speak with her. She speaks my language because she teaches and helps people holistically. And you guys know that's what I'm all about. So let me introduce her. Her name is Vishnupriya Aristo. Welcome to the show. It is so good to see you.
Thank you, Julie. What a pleasure to be with you today.
So I would love for you to just start out and telling us a little bit about yourself and your own wellness journey.
Sure. So I'm basically, right now I am in India, but I was in US for about 6 years. And before 3 years, I came back to India. So in my wellness journey, I guess I should start with, how while I was in US, I came in for studying my master's and MBA and all that. And it was all going great. I started my own business. It was an e-com business at that time. And 2, 3 years down the line, the business totally flopped and I ended up in a lot of debt. So I guess it's always starts with darkness, I guess, the wellness journey. So that's where my wellness journey started when that kind of darkness came into my life. I had to find something that can help me pull myself out of it. So my health started deteriorating and my finances got really bad, obviously, due to that, a lot of emotions, up and down, anxiety, depression kind of zone that I went into. And from there, I started, I guess the initial thing that I started off with was watching, some Dr. Joe Dispenza videos on YouTube. I then looked into the secret movie. That's what everything, that's where everything started. And one after the other, I started knowing about the different holistic healing modalities. So today I'm the founder of ZeroPoint Holistic Healing Center, which has two different things. One is a directory of holistic healing practitioners, where there are about 500, 600 practitioners throughout the world. And there's also about 80 different holistic healing modalities that is registered on the website right now. Wow. On the other hand, we also have a private center where we are actually offering unique holistic healing services to our own clients. Especially there is a 11-day treatment that I recently put together, and from the start of this year we actually started offering those sessions to the clients where any kind of body pain, illnesses, anything in the body that is getting manifested, or if there is financial issues or relationship conflicts. It's interesting how 360-degree the holistic healing can help. So that is an offer that we are making into the world at this time. And I'm really surprised that it is not that it just worked for me, but so many hundreds of clients that we are doing these sessions for, they are seeing massive shifts and changes. You might see in the success story, whether it's eczema or cancer, including things like cancer, we had been helping clients come out of it. So going back to my own story, as I said, there was a lot of emotional up and down. And I also had certain body health issues. I had like an enlarged liver when I first time went a full body scan. And I had fibroids, I had gallstones. And it all started manifesting right after that fall down that I faced back in 2015, 2016 timeframe. So that's a little intro about me. I'll let you ask more.
No, I love what you shared, and it just makes my mind expand because, a lot of people, you and I were talking before, and I said one of my favorite sayings, which is we keep our issues in our tissues. And, like the whole premise of the show is that there's more to health and wellness than broccoli and burpees. And I've noticed as well that when, you can have the perfect diet, you can exercise the perfect prescribed amount and still be unhealthy. And, it all comes down to what's going on in here, what's going on in the heart, all of these things that a lot of people, at least in the, Western world, they try and separate it out. And I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Body, mind, spirit is all connected. It's not just one part here, one part there, and one part whatever. So I'd love for you to expand a little bit about how, maybe how you discovered that, like, when you had the fall down, as you said, all of a sudden it started manifesting in your body. And then how did you, did you start taking care of those symptoms, or did you go to the root cause?
That's a beautiful question, Julie, and I guess that's the uniqueness about holistic healing as well. Because obviously, when I go to the doctor and say, "Okay, there is fibroids," what I
Mhm.
heard from them was, "There's no cure for it. There's no medicine for it. There's nothing that can actually, resolve or dissolve the fibroids.
Mhm.
Instead, we just have to operate and get it out. And even if we do get it out, there is no assurance that it wouldn't grow again. So it's a lot of women whom we have operated. And in my case, it was really huge and big, multiple ones. And it was kind of a very critical kind of a thing. So
Mhm.
when the doctor saw it, it's like, oh wow, we haven't had patients come in with such huge ones. So it was what is this? I was just about 25, 27ish old. So it's not that I've become old and therefore I can accept diseases. I know we use our age as a factor to accept diseases in our body, but
Mhm.
obviously I was really young as well, and I'm like, okay, they say there's no solution to this, and how do I go about it? So that's when, as I said, I started watching little videos, and somehow I came across something, a hypnotherapy, and all of a sudden I was watching some past life regression hypnotherapy, which I'm a practitioner. I am a past life regression therapist. At a later time, I got certified in it. So I was watching it, and people who was teaching and showing that was telling that, okay, all these different pains and illnesses in the body has emotional causes. It could
Mhm.
also go even back up until your past lives, not just this lifetime. Isn't that interesting? And at that time I had no belief. I wasn't believing in the past life or anything spirituality. I was totally against it. And when I'm listening to it, and when I'm going through this kind of a critical condition, I wanted to use all help possible in this world. So even
Mhm.
though I did not believe in it, it somehow just made me sit and watch it. It's like, oh, what if, right? Even though I don't
Mhm.
believe in it, what if it is true for any reasons? And they were also telling that it's possible to heal any kind of body illnesses. If you start doing the session, if it is from your past life, it gets released. If there are any emotions from this lifetime that's creating it, it gets released. So there is solution for any kind of problem. I even saw a cancer patient was being who was going through this past life regression, and I was able to see how that person transformed. So I guess I started believing when I actually started seeing people getting results. So
Mhm.
from there, I started actually learning holistic healing. I'm like, if this is such an awesome thing, and it did not come across my life until I'm 27, 28. So I'm like, and I was a studious person. And anyways, my business dropped at that moment in time. I didn't know what to start off with next. So this somehow pulled me in. So for my own healing, I started learning holistic healing.
Mhm.
So from there, one after the other, one after the other. Today, I'm certified in 8 different healing modalities. So started off with past life regression. I learned hypnotherapy. I learned something called the rapid transformational hypnotherapy that was created by Marissa Peer. She is one of the number one hypnotherapists in UK. And then I got certified in Theta Healing and Access Consciousness and Soul Plant Reading from the Holistic Healing College in the UK. So I then later I learned something called Joyous Body Protocol. There's so many different things. I just traveled all along, and every time this excited me. This is like, wow, really? You can do energy healing and release anything from your body. And the
Hmm.
amazing transformation, once again, people were getting just made me stick on to it. If this is true, I really want to pursue this, was what I was getting. So that's how the journey shifted in a different direction, and I became a therapist. Once that happened, then I started researching. There is like 80 plus healing modalities.
There
What
is.
really works, right? What really works? What can I, what is pulling me, and what is that I want to pursue, and what kind of service I want to offer into the world came up after that.
So my question for you is, since you are not in the United States and you work in energy, can you help people online, or does it have to be in person?
This is the best part of all, Julie, and I can see you really nailed it down there, because holistic healing works all around the world, and all the sessions, 99% of all my sessions are online. We just get on a Zoom call. So the 11-day treatment that I was mentioning, I will talk in detail about it a little later. But all of these, the 11-day treatment is done 11 consecutive days, one session on each day.
Hmm.
It's going to be 1 hour session. And we just get on a Zoom call. We do something called a life analysis. So we will be discussing from birth until now all major emotional events that you have gone through in your life.
Hmm.
And we'll first of all start with what kind of body issues or anything, or any sorts of, so it's not just the body issues. As I said, my own journey started off with financial
Hmm.
breakdown. So from there to today, I'm super financially successful, and my own financial transformation is like, wow, is this truly possible in short 2 to 3 years time frame?
Hmm.
So financial success is possible. All sorts of relationship conflicts. I guess the divorce rate in the world is really high. So any kind of relationship conflicts, any kind of body illnesses, stuff that you have, or a career block that maybe you are not, you just, in my case, as I said, just then my e-com business fall apart, and then a new career started from there. So I have been a person who has worked on my own career blocks, released it, and today I'm able to show my face to the world and speak up uh, all the stuff that I'm doing. So therefore all 360-degree of areas of life are covered. And in fact, if you see, as I said, my fibroids was a result of my financial breakdown and all the
Hmm.
emotions that came up from it. So each of these body illnesses, and I would like to refer the book Heal Your Body by Louise Hay. So that is
Yeah.
the book that our entire treatment is based upon as well. So I created this unique kind of a 11-day treatment, and I really saw how much of a transformation. So when I started my healing journey, I I should say that I have received at least 100 plus healing sessions
Hmm.
from like 50 plus different practitioners. At that
Wow.
time, there wasn't one place where I could find them all. So, which is why I built up a directory. That's the zeropointhealing.com website, where there's the web. Now, I just felt like once I started the journey, I felt how nice it'll be if I can see all the practitioners in the world in one umbrella, in one website. So I don't have to,
Hmm.
search through Google and find, trying to find them everywhere.
One at
So
a
that
time.
absolutely, absolutely. So I just started off the directory at that, I guess, 3 years back. That's when the directory got started as well. So anyway, so I was kind of trying to understand how this works. And then once I got, oh, this is how it works, when I actually have sessions with multiple people through different modalities, I see huge results. So
Hmm.
now I have then devised, the start of this year, I devised something called the 11-day treatment with Also, I have hired healers in my center. So there are multiple holistic healing therapists. So each day you will be going through different therapists who are going to use different kinds of modalities that they are certified in. This is
Mhm.
what I see, the kind of uniqueness of this is what I see is some kind of a magic recipe that even within that little 11-day time frame, people started seeing shifts in something like eczema, arthritis, or any kind of asthma. I guess we also had foot pain, knee pain, back pain kind of issues. People came
Mhm.
to us for. There were two patients, clients who came in for cancer. So all of these different ailments we were able to treat, and they were able to see results within that 11 days. It's not like you have to wait for 2 years to see the results. So that unique model I was able to create as well, and now it's doing really great. One of my best creations that I've created so far, I guess. So
I love
there's
that.
so much.
So in order to join this 11-day, they need to go to your website, correct? What do they do when
That's
they
right.
get there?
Yes. So the website zeropointhealing.com has, if you go there, you will see the entire write up, details about what the 11-day treatment is. So there are multiple things that I would like to give as prerequisites, because usually people who have only experienced or gone to a medical industry or going to doctor to
Mhm.
heal their issues, they come with expectations, like, because the medical industry, when you go to a doctor, they give you a pill, you take the pill, you might get cured, you might not get cured, but there is no self responsibility that we take in the process when we do that, right? It's the pill that is curing us. So I took the
Mhm.
pill, the pill did not cure me, or the pill cured me. So that's the model there. But when you come to holistic healing, you are the healer for yourself. We as therapists have amazing tools that with which we can facilitate you, but there is a lot of self responsibility we might have to take. Because, for
Mhm.
example, maybe let me talk about cancer as an example.
Mhm.
Cancer, the true root cause of cancer is long standing resentment.
Mhm.
So that's the emotional true root cause for cancer. So if that's the root cause, and let's say that you're coming to my center and booking a 11-day treatment, the first day we do a life analysis to see from birth what were the major kind of any kind of trauma that you went through, any physical abuse or any other kind of ups and downs emotionally that you went through. And to give you one concrete example, we had this one client who came in for cancer, and we know the root cause is long standing resentment. So we might have to look at all the anger, resentment that she has stored within her. So then
Mhm.
we started the life analysis session, and as I said, the roots of it might be even while you were in the womb and you just took up certain patterns of your parents. We are all energetic beings. We just simply absorb it. Especially while you are in the womb of your mother, you really
Mhm.
feel like you and your mother are one. There is no separation.
There
So
is, yeah.
all sorts of emotions that your mother is going through, you feel like it is yours, and you just take it in. And you might have seen little kids at early age. There might be kids who throw up so much of anger and
Mhm.
emotions, and we would wonder, the child has just born 2 3 years back, how come so much anger and so much of
Mhm.
emotional reactions in the child? It's because the child has absorbed it from its mother. And as I said, this might even go to past life only in special cases. So
Mhm.
we look into what the client has undergone, and if a past life regression is required for the client, we do have one session of past life regression as well, but it's really customized case to case basis. So this client that I was talking about, who had cancer, had picked up a lot of emotions from her mother. So
Mhm.
looks like They come from a community. She was in some kind of Arabic country that she came from. So in their tradition or in their culture, there had been a lot of jealous and a lot of kind of conflicts. It's not like the Western world. So the
Mm-hmm.
relationship conflicts was really huge, even from a culture space. So anyways, looks like she absorbed all of that. And then even as a child, when we did the life analysis, she said, even as a child, I was a really angry child. I did not have any friends. I was the one who was always left out, and I was all alone. And I really felt angry towards even my friends. And then at a later time, she also had a lot of physical and sexual abuse from her father.
Mm-hmm.
So all of major trauma, and she was one of the most challenging, or the client, a client with a lot of issues that we had. But it was nice that she was willing to receive and change herself. So even before you begin, we have a form that says, are you willing to take the responsibility and do this healing for yourself? Every healing is self-healing. You
Mm-hmm.
will have to change your thoughts, change your emotions, change your behavioral patterns. So at the end of the 11th day, you come out as a new person. So it's not just curing your health and illnesses, but also, when you come out of the 11-day treatment, you're a new person looking at the world differently. You have positive thoughts and positive emotions. You have released all these old baggage of
Mm-hmm.
resentment, anger, fear, sadness, and grief that you might have been carrying. So, the major transformation, people, yes, the illnesses get cured, but that is just a byproduct. But the true transformation that people get excited is, oh, I'm smiling more in my life. All
Yeah.
these old things just feels like 1,000 kgs have just I've lost weight. They say I just feel like all of this have released. So that's the major transformation we offer with the 11-day treatment.
I love that. Something that comes to mind, and we're going to go to a commercial break in just a moment, but you mentioned that, the root cause of cancer. And my question was going to be, is there correlations like with each type of cancer, or is it just cancer in general?
There is each type of cancer depending on which body part the cancer is manifesting in. So each body part has a different message, has a different emotional connection. So for
Mm.
example, a breast cancer might be very different from cancer in any other parts of the body. Anything to do with the female parts of the body has something to do with femininity. How do we feel as a female in this world, as a woman in this world? Do we feel accepted or not? So this particular client had breast cancer, and from young age she was not accepted as a woman. Women were always degraded in her culture, how she grew up. So yes, each part of the body has a different message and a different root cause.
I love that. And I love that you're talking about, taking responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your illness, all of it. Because if you, I mean, I'm not going to, I'm not a doctor. And so I'm not going to say don't take the pill, but I am going to say that I 100% agree with you when you try and give that power away to the pill, and either it works or it doesn't. I personally would rather be responsible for myself and own it. Because then you can do something about it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you said the right word there, Julie. I'm so happy that we are on same page. Giving our power away is one of the major, issues that is there in the world right
Yes.
now. It's when I say that, okay, I have fibroids and I created it, then I'm
Mhm.
also empowering myself to uncreate it. If I created it, I can
Exactly.
uncreate it. I don't have to be dependent on any external outside factors, whether it's a pill or a medication or an operation, whatever the stuff is. I don't have to give my power away. I can own it. I can say I created it, and now I'm uncreating it and giving myself the freedom and liberation. So that's exactly what we do with holistic healing.
I love that. And on that note, it's time for us to go to a commercial break. So we'll be back in just a moment. For those of you who are watching us live, hello, friends. Thank you for being here. You are always so appreciated. And I mentioned it's time for those commercials. So we will be right back in just a moment.
Are you someone who is struggling to move forward because you suffered a loss? Maybe you're even finding it difficult to complete the most basic tasks. Are you looking for a way to start enjoying life again without feeling guilty or the resistance to do so? Spiritual life coach Sarah Stockham saw a need for people who haven't learned how to grieve without putting their entire lives on pause. And so she created a program that solves this issue called Choosing Life Right Now. This program is simple and you can do it on your own. If you are ready to learn how to feel your grief while still being able to smile, to honor the sacredness of what took place as a loss, and yet still continue to live with joy, and if you'd like to take care of your whole being with grace and love, then I'd like to invite you to experience her new program called Choosing Life Right Now. Sarah is currently offering her program for the promotional price of $77, but it won't stay at this price for long. To learn more, check out her website. The address is on the screen.
When drug or alcohol addiction take over, things begin to disappear. Your friends, your family, and eventually, you. Recommended by Dr. Phil, New Method Wellness can help get your life back with individualized treatment plans for dual diagnosis clients. New Method Wellness provides the most highly credentialed treatment in a safe and welcome environment. Call New Method Wellness for your free consultation and ask about our national accreditations. Together, we can put the pieces back together.
Welcome back, everyone. Without further ado, let me just reintroduce my guest, Vishnu. Welcome back. It is so good to see your face. For a second there, I saw you disappear and I was thinking, uh-oh. I hope we didn't lose connection.
Yeah, I'm
But
back.
you're back. Yay. So during the commercial break, I was thinking about all my questions for you. And the first one that comes to mind is there are so many people out there that really feel as though they don't have control over their emotions, that other people, other things, outside influences are in charge. Like if they didn't cut me off, then I wouldn't be angry, for example, because that just seems to be an easy one. But what you're saying is owning and taking responsibility for how you respond to life. And I'm just curious what you would say to somebody who says, like, they maybe don't believe you. What are some first steps that they can maybe try so that they can, give themselves a chance to see that what we're talking about is actually true?
Yes, and Julie, you are an angel. You are picking my brain, maybe. So exactly whatever needs to be discussed, you just bring onto the table. And thank you for that question. Because yes, that is the one of the major issues. And when I deal with clients, I'm talking to clients day in and day out, everybody comes in, and most likely, let's say if it is anger, resentment, or I was abused as a child. No, it was because of my father all of this happened, right?
Mhm.
So he is the one who made me, feel all these emotions. And we have to retrain and teach our clients, telling them that no, your emotions are your choice.
Mhm.
Nobody else in this world can make you feel any emotion. It's your perspectives. According to holistic healing, your perspectives and points of view about the world is creating your emotions. So, in my words, I usually say nobody else can make me angry in this world other than myself.
Mhm.
So, when I say that, I'm totally empowering myself. Instead, when I say that, oh, my husband or my spouse always makes me angry, I'm giving my power away to somebody else. It's like you are a television, you give your remote control to others, and they press the buttons and you dance emotionally according to their buttons. So
Mhm.
that is not true. At the end of the day, I own my emotions, and I'm the one creating my own emotions. And I guess I myself as Vishnupriya is a testimony of that, because if you had met me 4 5 years back, I would have been the most depressed kind of person with all sorts of negative emotions, giving my
Mhm.
power away. So I've done that all. I've been there, so I know how it feels like to be there, which is why I wanted to do the service to the world.
Mhm.
So today it's like I also, by the way, just last week I had a 10-day Vipassana. I wouldn't know how many people would know about it, but it's like a 10-day silent meditation retreat that you go to, which I guess is there all around the world. And I guess this has been my most recent um, experience of upgrading and empowering myself to release the emotions. So after
Mm.
this 10-day silent meditation, I also got amazing healing tools. Now we are upgrading the entire 11-day treatment that we are offering to the clients with the new healing tools that I've gotten just 2 3 weeks back. So after the retreat, when I even prior to that, so I was always, since I started learning holistic healing, I had been empowering myself. I know it's not an overnight change, because I
Mhm.
had been that kind of a depressed person for 25 27 years. So it is not an overnight change of now my husband or my people around me can do anything and I can be happy. That's the state I wanted to reach, but I
Mhm.
wasn't. So I was taking one step along the way, and now 2 to 3 years down the journey, today I really feel empowered. Regardless of what happens around me, I can truly be happy. So that's the entire permanent happiness about. So one tool at a time, I started increasing my self-love. I started
Mhm.
increasing my self-worth. I started looking at myself differently. And once all the inner changes that I was making within me, I could see the outer reflections of it. I'm like, oh wow, I shifted and changed. My husband
Yep.
did not, he didn't do any holistic healing, but I can see now he respects me more, he loves me more, he supports
Mhm.
me better. There are no conflicts between, me and my husband. At one point in time, there was like very, very, bad conflicts, so which also resulted in a lot of emotional trauma. But now I can say that my happy life is there in my outer world, just
Mhm.
because I started changing myself from deep within. I hope a lot of you would know about law of attraction, or you might have seen the Secret movie, so which also says when you make your inner changes, the outer world shifts and changes.
Mhm.
So there are clients who comes to me and says, my mother-in-law is staying with me, and there is no way I'm able to get rid of her, and she always blames and criticizes me. Even I do a lot of personal work, and when I go back home, when she starts criticizing me, I go back to the negative emotional mode.
Mhm.
So I tell them, let's take this levitate treatment and see, first of all, let's make changes in you, because all outside reflections, if she's criticizing you, the question is, are you criticizing yourself within you? If there's
Mm-hmm.
no criticism within you, you will not have to face criticism outside of you. I can guarantee that. So now let's look into where you criticize yourself. Let's release it. And then you will see your relationship with your mother-in-law will automatically change down the line. So we start the treatment, and over again, this is the most surprising, it's not even the pain
Mm-hmm.
and illnesses are gone isn't as surprising as I did a treatment for myself and I see my mother-in-law has changed, my husband has changed. These people, people in my company treat me with a lot of appreciation now. So seeing people change outside of you has been the most surprising, facts for our clients who come for the treatment. But yes, to sum it up, you can own your emotions. You can see whatever emotions are deep within you. And with holistic healing, the energy healing that we do. So when you attend a 1 hour session, there is like 30 minutes of counseling. And then there is about 20 minutes of energy healing that we do, where you lay down in the bed. And regardless of where you are in the world, we can send that beautiful, positive energy to you, which just cleanses out the negative emotions. So therefore, it is very different from, let's say, a talk therapy or any other forms of,
Mm-hmm.
alternate methods. I guess the holistic healing, the uniqueness had been the energy healing side of things. When we receive that positive energy into our body, it's like flushing yourself out. And you will see immediately after the session, it's no much hard work. All those old, junk of anger, sadness just get flushed out of you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can be like reborn, a new person with positivity.
Something that, and I love this, but something that just keeps popping into my brain that I feel compelled to share is a story that I heard from Edwene Gaines, and she is a Unity Church minister, and she writes about prosperity. And so I was listening to one of her books on tape, or I guess on CD now. But anyway, she was talking about, she was abused as a child, sexually abused as a little child. When I'm talking like baby, and she almost died because of it. And so, she's going around. Now she's an adult and she's talking about it. And her mentor said, "You know what, Edwene, you need to stop talking. We're tired of hearing about it." And so, of course, she's just like, "Oh, what?" And then, they started talking about, she said, "I didn't invite this into my life. I was a little baby. How could I invite this in? And I didn't create this. So, I'm the victim." And the interesting thing that her mentor said was, "Well, this is the story that you're telling yourself about this. So why don't we have you tell a different story?" And so he said, and he changed her story to, "Edwene, you are a woman of power, and you came into this world to be a woman of power, and you learned at a very young age not to abuse power." And I just thought that that was a really fascinating way of, things happen, life happens, and sometimes you can't change those things. And, we would prefer not to have these things happen, but the story that you tell yourself about it is going to determine how you're going to move forward with that information. And you don't have to be a victim. You just don't have to be a victim. Things can happen to you, but you don't have to be a victim. So I just felt compelled. I don't know why somebody needed to hear that today. I'm not sure who it was, but there you go.
And I guess that brings me to another important point. Maybe it was myself. So you brought in a great case study there, where you said, a person as a baby, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years,
Mhm.
going through a sexual abuse. I've had multiple clients come to me with this kind of issue. I
Mhm.
guess sexual abuse has a huge percent rate in our world. So a
Yeah.
lot of women who come in, tells us, okay, I had a sexual abuse as a child while I was 6 years old. So this was a client who had very deep depression and anxiety. She was from Florida, I guess, in US, and she had done a lot of talk therapy and all of that, alternate methods, but this was the first time she gave it a try for holistic healing, because
Mhm.
her sister herself was a holistic healing practitioner in my center. So she was like connecting us, and I did the session for this client who had gone through, the 6 year sexual abuse, and very much similar story as what you said right now. She said, well, I did not create this.
Mm-hmm.
This is out of my control and power, that I had uh, been sexually abused, and why should this happen to me? Being in that victim mode, that this happened to me, and I'm somehow, I'm not good enough, something is wrong
Mm-hmm.
with me. So she was in that mode. Just to give you a side note here, anything huge traumatic events that's happening less than 7 years old is usually coming from some of our past life remains. As I said, once again, I know a lot of people in the world, just like me, might not believe in past lives. But here in the past life regression, as I said, which again is a 1 hour session, where maybe you're lying down in the bed and we regress you, you get to see it, experience it, and we will just kind of read the script, which kind of makes you go into kind of a deep sleep mode. And then all of a sudden you can see different visions of your past life. And most of the clients that I've done the session for, they even recognize the characters. So for this client, we did a past life regression, because as I said, less than 7 years old, if there had been huge traumatic events, it
Mm-hmm.
usually has some kind of past life connection. And when a past life regression session is done, and you see those visions and see that life, immediately the healing happens. Because at the end of the day, if she cannot totally forgive this other man who
Mm-hmm.
sexually abused her, the healing is not complete. And regardless of how much talk therapy or counseling that we do, it's not possible for the human mind to forgive a person who had cruelly abused you in that way at such young age. So this is the reason why we did the past life regression. And then she went to this, she started seeing these visions. Oh, I see this man who had actually sexually abused me, but he is in a totally different way. I just can I'm able to connect him as the same person with his eyes. His eyes is the same, but he looks very different in this lifetime. I'm married to this person at this time. And then she saw something that was happening between him and her in the
Mm-hmm.
past life. And then once the session was done, she was crying and crying, and she's like, now I understand why this happened in my life. The past life, I had something to do with that person, and I did this to him. And looks
Mm-hmm.
like it's just that I had to. So there is always a lesson as well. So there's two elements. There is a root cause why it happens in your life, and then there is also certain lessons, just like how you said right now, where what if you learned at the young age that not to abuse the power. So very
Mm-hmm.
much similar to that, each event in your life changes you for good. It teaches you something which, so for example, somebody who has gone through sexual abuse as a child has built up a lot of resilience. Today, if you see her, she is a single mother, taking care of herself and her children, and she is like super successful in her career. So when I ask her, what do you think is the root cause of this, she says, oh, the entire world abandoned me, and I went through all of this abuse, so I just
Mm-hmm.
have to, I had to support myself, hold my back for myself. See, she has built in a lot of inner strength and resilience. And after the session, she was really able to feel grateful to this man
Mm-hmm.
instead of being angry and resentful. And then it's all about all these little events that has happened in your life is truly a gift, even though at that moment it would have created a lot of negativity, pain, and trauma, but still it is a gift. Today, when we look back, we can claim those gifts, we can see how it transformed us, and we can be grateful for all these traumatic events that has happened in our life.
I couldn't agree more because I think about, I almost feel guilty sometimes because my mom passed away when I was young. I was only 13. And at the time, it was obviously very traumatic, but I wouldn't have the life I have now. And I'm so grateful for it if that hadn't happened. So, it's kind of like, yes, I miss her. And yes, I wish she was still here, but I'm also really happy with the way things are. So, it's kind of, if you can learn to accept what is and enjoy what is instead of wishing it were different, then, that's how it just makes life a lot more fluid. You're not trying to paddle upstream constantly.
Absolutely. And here in these cases where, somebody has passed away from your life, mother or father, or somebody very close to you at a younger age. So we have had multiple cases in that side as well. So let's say there was this client who said at 6 years age, she lost her mother, and then a stepmother came into her life who, kind of abused her. And
Mm,
her major regret in life was, why did my mother pass away? If my mother hadn't passed away, I wouldn't have had, a stepmother come in and kind of treat me cruelly. And that is the reason I have all these negative emotions. But very much like how you said right now, it was the same story. If your mother hadn't passed away, today she is a successful woman building her own business,
mhm.
and with a lot of inner strength and courage that she puts out into the world. So all of that she couldn't have built up if she was not in a conflicting environment, even as a child, right? So
Mhm.
a stepmother who comes in and kind of maybe abuses or criticizes and doesn't give you anything, that is a very hostile environment to live in. But
Yeah.
by living in that kind of an hostile environment, what gifts have you gotten in your life? When we look at it from that perspective, this is what holistic healing does. It helps you look at life from a very different point of view, from a very different perspective, so you can actually see the positivity in the
Mhm.
negative events that has happened in your life. There is positivity even in major negative traumatic events. So holistic healing helps you change your perspective and look at it from, oh yeah, if my mom hadn't passed away, I wouldn't have been this kind of a successful person today. So yeah, I understand why she left and how much I've gained and learned and changed and
Mhm.
transformed as a person. So everything has a gift in it.
Everything does have a gift in it. And I think too about, you mentioned about this abusive stepmother, but my mom was married to an abusive stepfather, and he never hit me or anything like that, but mentally and emotionally he was abusive. Or so I thought that, and it really was, because I was an extremely sensitive child and he just didn't know how to deal with me. That being said, I knew him as an adult for a while, and I got to see him again in a different light. And I realized, oh my gosh, he wasn't even trying to be mean. That's just how he is. And he was joking, but I was so sensitive. I didn't get it at the time. So my point of saying this and sharing this is that it really is a story. Even then, it's still a story. So why not choose a different story?
Wow, Julie, you're hitting it again. If anybody is abusive towards you, if anybody is criticizing you, blaming you, trying to, say all these negative things that makes you feel bad emotionally, most likely they are not doing it to you.
Hmm.
That's how they are within themselves. They are criticizing themselves within them, and therefore they are also putting out onto you, everybody that they see. Imagine a person with all this negativity. If a person has high self criticism, he or she is also gonna criticize everybody outside of her. But we take
Hmm.
it just like how you said, oh, this person is doing it to me because I'm not good enough. It's my mistake, and we feel guilty about it. We take it in. But what if you don't have to take it in? What if you don't have to accept it as your shortcomings? Instead, you can look at
Hmm.
this person and know that, oh, he is a self-critic person. He just criticizes himself, and he doesn't know it other way. Nobody taught him how to have self-love and how to have
Hmm.
love towards others. So there's nothing wrong with you. If somebody else is criticizing you, there is nothing wrong with you. Just not take it in and believe in their other person's words. Understand that a person who hasn't learned how to love others cannot do so. He is not loving himself, nor he is loving others. So that's one of the major points as well that we teach the clients in our treatment.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to pop up your website again because I want to make sure that people have the opportunity to reach out to you. Um, so, something that I was thinking about too is, there's so many, we've talked a little bit about self love and self worth, and so many people that still, they, need the external praise, but It's called self-love. Self-worth. You can't get it from other people. So how, you mentioned a little bit about how you were able to raise yours incrementally. And I think a lot of people think it's all or nothing and go from 0 to 100. But what are some simple ways to start growing that confidence, that self-love, that self-respect, and self-worth?
Beautiful question once again, and I guess that's one of the major important parts of all the healing. Because if a particular person can simply learn to love themselves, and I use the word self love because 80% of the cases it's the lack of self love that one has, which is creating all the negative things outside of them. So, yes, increasing one's own self love is something very, very, foundational to our 11-day treatment. And we have seen whether the clients come with anxiety or depression or arthritis or body pain and illnesses, financial discomfort, relationship conflicts, regardless of what the outside problem is, we can point it all down to lack of self-love. And at the end of the day, when we help the client increase the self-love, they see that, oh, there is a 360-degree change in my external world. So now I come to the point here. How do we increase self-love? So I'm going to share my own way and how I personally did it. I'm going to start off 2-3 years back. As I said, I was in that zone of no money. And then I started doing holistic healing. And then it was like self-worth equals money. So if you do not have money today, how much is your self-worth? If your self-worth is low, at the end of the day, you will have financial problems no matter what. So then I had to start increasing my self-worth. Self-worth is also linked to self-love. I think all of that is connected to each other. So I started, and the message to me was your skills, your talents, your abilities, your gifts that you're born with, that is your treasure house. That's your wealth. And when you start valuing your skills, talents, and abilities, and you can start monetizing it, money will be in your bank account. That was the message for the self-worth. And I'm like, oh, wow. I started creating something called a life inventory sheet that I learned. So in the 11-day treatment, there are so many different tools and such exercises that we do that helps a person to gradually build self-love, self-worth step by step. So we have like a list of different things that we usually give as homework and kind of discuss, not just doing it by yourself. We also discuss that in the session. So this is one example, which is the life inventory sheet, where I write down all the courses, classes, education that I've done, all the skills that I've got, all the personality traits that I've got, which kind of fills up one entire big, sheet. And I look at that and I say, oh, wow, I am worth $1 billion. I'm capable of making, with so many skills and talents that I have, I'm capable of making $1 billion in my life. That little exercise where you actually see your skills written down on a paper and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And I increase my value right there. I increase my self-worth right there as I do that little exercise. And then we start helping. If a client comes in with financial issue, that's where we start. And then we help the client, okay, with these different skills, what are the different kind of services you can offer into the world? This could be also a person who has been stuck in the career, not being able to, make money at the end of the day. So we start giving, how can you monetize it? What are the different things that you truly love to do? One element with the money side of things is that you have to do what you truly love to do. Just because your parents said that, oh, become a doctor or become an engineer and you will, make money. Maybe the person has followed those advices and has become an engineer, but the person says, oh, I'm really interested in the music, but nobody encouraged me to do so, but I really love it. When the client comes to us, we tell them, just go get started with your music. Anything that you truly love will make you money at the end of the day. So not looking at approval from others, now is the time that you can start pursuing your music, as an example. So that's the way we help them lead, and they start becoming successful once they start doing what they truly love to do. So here, I guess I also have touched base on self-love practice, because the self-love can, go into all different directions. One of the
Mhm.
most important thing is giving yourself permission to do what you love to do. So creating a life where you wake up in the morning and you know that today in my entire schedule I am just doing what I truly love to do. If it is music, you really love cooking. If it is something
Mhm.
that you don't love, if you're forcing yourself, making yourself to do something, maybe you're going to a job that you totally dislike, and that is
Mhm.
lack of self love.
No,
So
no, definitely not.
yeah, and there is, I guess, like 80% of the world is doing something that they don't really love, just because the
Mhm.
world expects them to do so, just because they think that, oh, the only way how I can make money is only when I do this job that I don't like to do.
Exactly.
So
I'm
that's
sorry. I'm sorry. I've got to stop us because we are at the end. There is no time left. Can you believe it? I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show. You're going to have to come back so we can continue this conversation because I feel like we just got started.
wow, wow,
I
Julie,
told
this
you it
is
goes
like
fast.
absolutely. And thank you for the beautiful opportunity. And yes, all of them, I invite you to go to zeropointhealing.com if you would like to know more about me. I have a lot of videos. So you can come and ask a question. You can also book a free consultation, 30 minutes if you would like to talk in person. So you're all
Perfect.
welcome. Thank you so much for the
Thank you
opportunity,
for
dear.
being on the show. And that is all the time that we have for today. We will see you again soon, everyone. Have a great night.